Let me ask you something, my dearest friend. Imagine if someone would have the foresight to kill Eichmann before he killed 6 million. Would you say it's a terrible thing? You see what it is? The Talmud says a Gewalt. You know what the world is? The world has compassion with murders and is cruel to the people who are killed. You know, I really hate to talk now about killing, but I want to tell you a weird story. Again, I really don't want to get involved in it because you asked me. Some years ago in New York, I don't know if you remember, there was some murder. He killed 17 people in one subway ride. He just walked around with a knife and killed people. 17 people on one side of the night. There was, listen to this, there was one boy and a girl, very poor, and they were supposed to get married on Sunday, and he killed this boy on Saturday night in the subway. Can you imagine the girl, right? But now listen to this. How many letters did the murderer receive telling him, we are with you, we don't want you to be killed, God forbid? You know, really, a man like this, the world needs him, right? So he killed 70 people. What's so bad about it? He's a beautiful boy, you know. He had all A marks in school. Genius. He could invent another atom bomb and just kill in one Saturday night the whole world. How beautiful. They could even save the expenses for the funeral, because if everybody's killed, then who will bury each other? So you can save all these expenses. Now listen to this, brother. This girl who's stuck a heartbroken, she did not receive one letter. The murderer received, it was in 1 week, 40,000 letters. You know what kind of a crazy world we're living in? Compassion? Have compassion with this girl. Go and visit her every night. She's crying. She has nobody to cry before.
So,
yeah?
Isn't that also God's wish?
To do what?
To have 40,000 people right, criminal, in clothes.
Oh, brother, you know, this is beyond me, brother, how a person can talk like this, really. This is perverted compassion. I don't think you should hang him on a tree, lock him up and that's it, forget it.
I merely asked the question.
I understand. What do you mean it's God's will? Then everything is God's will.
Yes.
I mean, we're talking about people now, right? So then everybody can say, I walk on the street now and I killed 10 people. After that, it was God's will.
Well, I think it's a terrible act. I agree with you. But isn't it God's will?
But you're asking me now, how come that we before Purim, before we initiate Purim, and I want you to know that every person who was killed was mamish on the level, Mordechai and Esther were given prophecy, who are the people, if they remain alive, they'll kill the whole world. And I want you to know something. Imagine if those few thousand people who were killed, if they would have not been killed, who knows where the world would be today? After they were killed, the world is filled with murders. Listen, friend, let me ask you something. You know what murder means? It's not stealing. Taking away somebody's life. It's so awesome. Awesome is not the word, right? More than awesome is.
I agree with
you. So if I see people who are ready to kill the world, I better knock them off fast. So when I see people who are ready to kill the world, I wouldn't say that I would like to do it myself. You know, I don't think I'm holy enough, because it would tear me down. I couldn't do it. But obviously, Mordechai and Esther, the people on such a level, they knew that they have to kill them. They knew. Do you know that there are people who are void they don't have a soul? They're not animals. Animals have a soul. There are people ready to kill the whole world. And don't kid yourself. You think people want to kill the Jews, they only want to kill the Jews? They want to kill the whole world. They want to kill each other. I hate to tell you stories like this, but I want to tell you a story which happened to me when I was little. It was a great eye-opener for me. You know, let's say here, I'm, let's say 9 years old, the Germans come to Vienna, and it's a terrible thing, you know. Suddenly, like, kids are running after me on the street, want to kill me. It's a bad scene, right? Okay, it's very bad for children because you don't know anymore to relate to the world. You know, behind our house was a big park, and there was a little lake. And we have not been in that lake, by this lake, when the Germans took over. We were afraid to go to that lake. Although there was little ships and all kind of things. One day, I'm sitting on the porch, and I hear, and I could see from the porch was going to that little lake. I see 2 kids, maybe 7 years old, sitting on a boat. It fell over, and they were drowning in the little lake, and yelling for help. And I happened to be a good swimmer. Even then, I was a good swimmer. I say to my mother, I don't give a damn. I'm just running over to the lake, get those kids out. So my mother says, okay, I'm running with you. My brother came, although it was really dangerous. I'm coming to the lake. There may be 400 people walking around. Not a one person jumped in. They were not Jewish kids. Non-Jewish kids. Your children. Not one person jumped in because you think a Nazi cares if one of his own drowns? Now listen to this. Finally, after 10 minutes, people got on the ship, fooled around a little bit. It was not so deep, the lake. They got them up. Oh, they were still alive, those 2 kids. They put them on the ground. A new thing begins. Who's going to call a doctor? One says, you go. Can I have a phone? So I used my phone. My mother put their mouse on. What do we need it for? Listen to this. So finally one boy goes on a bicycle, goes to a bakery to call up a doctor. He wouldn't call a Jewish doctor, God forbid. He calls a Nazi doctor. The Nazi doctor says he's eating dinner, he'll be in a half hour. After a half hour, the Nazi doctor comes, looks at them and he says, half hour ago I could have taken them to hospital and saved their lives, but now it's too late. Just takes a piece of paper, signs they're dead and says, take them away. They're not human beings, you know. Okay, we should never see such people again, you know, God forbid. It's terrible, you know. I think I was sick after that for a year from that, you know. I was mamish sick, physically sick. Can you imagine 400 adults walking around a lake and not one person's jumping in to save the life of 2 little kids? It's unheard of. Unbelievable.
Shlomo, right now in the whole world there are children, thousands and thousands and thousands of children are starving, and there's not enough going in to help them either.
I know, it's terrible.
The children are starving, and like they just, somebody's paying attention.
I know.
And maybe we're not human beings either.
Who?
We.
Well, what should I say, brother? It's a bad scene, you know? Okay, let's hope maybe this pool will become human beings again. But you see what it is. It's a crazy world, you know? Basically, we're living in a culture which doesn't care for human life. That's all there is to it, you know?
How do you change it?
What?
How do you change it?
So let's hope Purim will be so high we'll know how to change it. Right now, I don't know how to do it, you know?
I have a suggestion.
Yeah, let's hear.
I really have a suggestion. I'd like to be taken seriously.
So let's hear it.
That we start by loving ourselves and each other, and that we don't talk about hate, or that we don't talk about other human beings not being human beings, because that's what the Nazis did to us.
So you mean you're going back to the Torah I was saying before, so we're both saying the same thing?
I don't think so.
Why?
I'm very disturbed to hear you say the things you're saying. I heard you once a long time ago.
Well, what did I say?
Well, I'd like to explain that.
I don't
I
listen.
also find it very, very difficult to take issue with the man that reviewed you.
What?
I find it very difficult to take issue in a group where I know you are as revered as you are.
Then why don't you shut up?
No, I better. No, Beta, really, you're sweet. No, I don't.
That's right. That's exactly what the Nazis did.
I don't understand. I don't know.
The point is that we have always had wars, and we've always had killings, and we had crusades, and we had concentration camps, and I also have 80 members of my family, so I'm not strange to this. And I say that if we talk about other human beings as if they were somehow lower than human beings, that we're making the same mistake that the Nazis made, and that the Crusaders made, and that the Egyptians made, etc., 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 then we just don't seem to learn.
Listen, brother, let me enlighten you on one thing. Before you start asking the questions, the atmosphere was so high, there was no killing, no hatred. We were talking about high things. And suddenly you start asking me questions which I didn't even want to get involved with. You are the one who brought up the killing.
I did not, my friend in front of me did.
Oh. So I'm not responsible. So what do you want of me, you know?
Why does he have a slogan, clear the air of the Sahara?
No, very much. How about maybe all of you not giving me advice anymore and please have Rahmanas on me, you know? Really?
Well, the sages said the same thing. The sages said that you should love everyone. And that's the only way to... Not that you... The sages said that you should have compassion, that you cannot judge. We're not in a position to be Hashem, and that you have to a priori just, assume that everything is from Hashem, benevolent.
Is he 100% right? I made it very clear that whoever was killed in the time of the Megillah was by prophecy. They knew they could x-ray this person's out and they knew what they're doing. So you're 100% right. But let's get out of the whole thing already. Yeah?
We're responsible for all that, you know? I mean, that person isn't out there as an evil, that's all in us, you know?
That's what you were saying.
So, suddenly those kids wake up like we were talking about bingo before. Were you listening what we were learning? We were learning about reaching that level that I don't hear anything bad anymore. That's what we were talking about the whole time.
That's what we're talking about.
That's what he's talking about.
Precisely.
And you dismissed him.
I dismissed it. Did you hear what I was talking before? I just don't understand. You better listen back to my tapes. You'll hear what I was saying the whole time. I say 1 and 1 is 2, and someone says, you're terrible. Why don't you admit that 1 and 1 is 2? I'm saying 1 and 1 is 2.
Shlomo, it's like every once in a while we see answers from you. It's kind of like we go into the world and we see the world is crazy. It's like, and then somebody says, Shlomo, why is the world crazy?
Yeah.
And you say, well, love everyone. And then they say, well, you can't love everyone. And then Shlomo, you talk about there was times in your life where you just saw how crazy the world was and you didn't know what to think. And then people just can't accept that.
Holy brother, what?
Another point of view that you can take, and I'm not going to say that it's the reality, but you can take the point of view that what we've got in the world is exactly what we want, exactly what we created, and therefore there is nobody out there to blame. And that's the point of view that if you take, I find that it really makes change possible.
Also true. You're right also. The only thing is I'm saying on Purim, this is good for after Purim, On Purim, one day a year, why is everybody so greedy? Why can't we on Purim one day not have anything to do with you? Forget it, that's it.
But it's like riding a 42nd Street subway train and getting off in the Garden of Eden.
Hey, brother, that's my man. Listen, don't forget your flute, brother.
So that's what the Garden of Eden looks like.
Maybe the Garden of Eden is within us.
Yeah, let's hear.
Question.
Yeah, let's hear.
How could Purim be brought to that small community outside Chicago that had to contend with those Nazi marches?
Why, they're ready for the highest, obviously. Because they have a chance really to wipe out evil in the most unbelievable way. Purim doesn't exist, On Purim, I walk up to Brother Haven and say, "You're my best friend." I'll tell you how my daughter Neshama knows the story of Purim, okay? I'll tell you. I asked her on Purim. I said, "What's the story of Purim?" So she says stories like this. She says, "Esther was so good, and Haman was so bad." But then I says to her, so I says, "Do you love Haman?" She says, "Yeah, I love him so much." So he gave the whole story on the highest level.
Following is the continuation of a talk given by Rabbi Shlomo Carlebach at the University of Florida German Civilization class entitled German, Polish, and Jewish Intercultural Healing. The talk is a continuation of the talk that began on tape 18T.
You know what the most special thing in the world is? God is giving every human being a chance. Let me ask you, who do you think the father of Abraham was? You would say, Father Abraham, his father was a great rabbi, he was praying day and night. His father was a criminal. Abraham's father was the lowest criminal. Would you think that a person like this has a son, Abraham? Abraham, the pillar of love, pillar of believing in God. Unbelievable, right? I have to share something awesome with you. Do you know Nero, who burned Rome with his own hands? According to history, he committed suicide and became crazy. Nobody knows what he did, right? But you know, we were there. Because we Jews, our history is a little bit more real. Stop bragging. Do you know Nero saw that he is destroying what he did with his own hands? Suddenly he had a flash. I have to change. I have to stop being a pagan. Do you know that he went to Jerusalem, he converted? And do you know that his son is Reb Meir? Reb Meir is the two greatest rabbis in the history of the Talmud, is Reb Meir and Reb Akiva. Reb Meir means the rabbi who's shining. Son of Nero. Let me ask you, when Nero came to Jerusalem, do you think anybody says, "Hey, listen, go to hell"? What's so special about God? What's so special? Special thing is that God always gives you another chance. God always gives you one more chance, and one more chance, and one more chance. I want you to know, when I heard that Berlin got together, my heart was filled with joy. Because I've been a few times in Berlin, I talked to people on the street, and I was also in East Berlin. I want you to know, but East Berlin was heavy. Do you know Kristallnacht, when they began burning down synagogues? The first synagogue they burned down was in East Berlin. It's called Oranienburger Straße. And this is one synagogue they left burned the way it is, just to stay there forever. And only the sanctuary was burned, but there's a big building on the side which belongs to the Jewish community, which was not burned. The Russians used it for a stable, but anyway, after the Russians left, they didn't leave, half left. Okay, when I went there, must have been 78. And again, it was the first time that there was a Jewish singer in that half of the synagogue. That means since the synagogue was burned, there was no singing there. And there are about 200 Jews living in East Berlin. They all came. And I tell you the truth, when we started singing, for 45 minutes I was just crying. I couldn't even sing. It was awesome. You just look out from the window and you see the burned synagogue. It was not only the burned synagogue, you see the 6 million. You could see them all the time. But here I want to tell you something. It's clear to me as a Jew. What do you think is the last wish of the 6 million? What do you think is the last wish? You think the 6 million said, do me a favor, take a few guns, take some atom bombs and destroy the world who killed us? Doesn't sound to me like that. You know what their last wish was? Fix the world so it should never happen again. There's no other way. There's no other way. You know, friends, if someone hates me and I hate them back, I'm not doing anything good. You know what the Holy Master Rab Nachman says? If someone hates you, that means he's putting fire under your house, right? You're burning half of your house. So you say, hey, I hate you also. So you're burning the other half of your house. So you're doing what he does. He wants to destroy your soul. Say, hey, I'm so glad. Thank you. I'll destroy my own soul. You know, friends, hatred is a sickness. What a disease. You know, everybody says this is a deadly sickness. Let me tell you, hating is a deadly sickness. Anger is a dangerous disease. You know how many marriages broke up because of anger? How many children are so lonely because of anger? Anger. For what? For what was it worth it? There is nothing in the world big enough to make you angry. Because anger is death. I want to share something awesome with you. According to our Kabbalistic tradition, it is the deepest. I want you to know God is very tolerant between you and me. He is tolerant. Whatever you do, He's still hanging around you, hoping you'll fix it later. My soul never leaves me. According to our holy tradition, there is one thing when I do it, my soul refuses to remain in my body. When I'm angry. My soul is somehow withdrawn. My soul says, listen, you want to be angry? Do it on your own. And our great Kabbalists teach us, if you would have spiritual eyes, you would see that a person who's yelling and angry is a dead person. It's dead. You know, sometimes I talk to parents, and I tell parents, sometimes parents think, right now is the time to yell at my child. Got to put my foot down, right? Especially those people who teach assertiveness training, got to put both feet on their faces. But you know, children are still heavenly. Those little kids look at you, and they say, oh, my parents are dead. You think you reach them by yelling? You push them away. They get frightened. I don't have anything to do with my parents. I mention it a lot of times. Rav Nachman says, let it be clear to you, whatever you can do with anger, I swear to you, you can do 500,000 times more with one sweet word. Won't you know, friends, right now is not the time for anger. The time for anger is over. I remember, without saying anything bad, there was a big conference on world peace, and most humbly I had the privilege of opening the session. There were maybe 2,000 people, a lot of religions, all kinds of underground, overground, middle ground. And I was telling them whatever I think. The person next to me gets up and he says, it's all crap. It's not true. This one is bad, this one is bad, this one is bad, and this one we need to hate. This one has to be destroyed. Then another person got up and said, yeah, it's true. I cannot agree with Shlomo. It's not true. I tell you something, my eyes are not so spiritual, but a little bit. You know what they did? Turned off the light. Turn off more light. Turn off more light. You know, friends, there is darkness, the night, which is so beautiful, right? Because let it be clear to you, friends, in our holy tradition, I'm sure in yours too, the night is not dark. You think the moon is shining when it's dark? The darkness of the light of the night is a different light. The sun has light, and the night, what a light, right? Have you noticed people when they sit together at night, they get so close because there's so much light in the night. But then there's real darkness. Real darkness. So all I can tell you, friends, you know, my relationship to Germany and to Poland is, if you brought so much darkness into the world, I don't want to add to your darkness. I want to turn on the light on you. I want to turn on the light. Because if I do what they did, then they really are winning. Then they are winning. I want you to know, when I was on television in Germany, as I mentioned before, they took me to the wall. And they said, do you feel revenge that Germany is divided now? God's punishment to Germany? I said to them, I'll tell you something. If I would come back to Berlin and I see people dance on the streets, people love each other, then I would feel revenge. Hey, you see? My way is winning. But when I see people still hating each other, that means Gewalt. My way is still far away. I want you to know, friends, as far as I'm concerned, and I'm a little bit sorry that some of the leading Jews didn't have enough guts. If I would be one of the leaders, I would have sent the longest telegram to Germany, congratulating them. Congratulating them. Because we want the whole world to be one. And you'll tell me if Germany is one, they'll kill the Jews again? Let me tell you, I said to somebody, if West Germany wants to kill the Jews, they don't need East Germany, right? They can do it on their own. Stupid. You know what the time is today? Today the time is to open your hearts. And even if the wind still wants to close your door, you just put a lot of holy stones against the door and keep it open. You've got to keep it open. And one more thing. We still have time? Yeah, we have a few minutes. Okay, so let's knock off one more fast song. You know, friends, I have a good idea. You have to get up anyway, eventually. Nobody plans on staying here. Can you get up and just clap strong like mad, and let's do it. I die, die, I die. I die, I die. I die, die, I die. I die, die. I die, die, I die. I die, die, die. I die, die. I die, I die. I die, die. I die, Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you.